Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, the Umbrella Academy Season 3. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my fast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you like gambling, you can hit that bell down below and see if YouTube will actually send you a notification when I come on live. Or you can go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right. So there is no spoiler-free version of this. I kind of figured, if you've watched season 1 and 2, you already know what you have coming ahead of you here. So we're just going to go into season 3 with spoilers. How about that? So, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the third season here. If you have not watched it, run away, come on back when you're done, and this will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right. Giving you enough time to hit pause, all that kind of good stuff. Alrighty. Okie dokie. So let's do the elephant in the room first. All right. So Elliot Page, of course, transitioned, trans, and this also means that the character Vanya that is in the Umbrella Academy also transitions to Victor. Which does not happen in the comic, by the way. Hello, Cheryl. And Morks and Penn. So this does not happen in the comics. And how do I feel about this? Honestly, I never really liked the actor. I mean, I'm talking about their acting, not just the person or anything like that. I'm just saying their acting. I never felt one way or the other about them. I just their acting was like, I don't see what the big deal was of the actor. So there you go. Yeah, do I wish it didn't happen? That they follow the comics more. Yes, I wish that they had actually followed the comics more. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it is what it is at this point. In this season, though, I think they spend way too much time on Victor, on the character when they didn't need to. It was kind of needless because I think they needed to kind of explain the whole transitioning thing, and that was the reasoning behind it. I actually would have spent more time. I loved what happened with Klaus. Klaus just discovering his powers. And by the way, Klaus in the comics is also not gay, but although I don't think in this version of him he is gay, I think he's more trisexual and that he'll try to have sex with anything at this point. Um, it's keep your panties in a bunch. I'm not making light of it or anything like that. It's just the character is very open sexually in the series versus in the comic, where they even mention in the comic that they kind of off the cuff that he has a daughter when he's trapped back in the 1960s. So that he ends up having a daughter. So but it works for the character here. Anyway, um I am disappointed with what they did with Diego. Diego had some good character arcs happening in the first and even the second season. And then he kind of gets relegated to comic relief with the kid Stan and with Lila, testing him as a father material by using this kid Stan, saying that it's his kid. And yeah, that was just kind of a weird thing. And then Luther, the same thing. Number one, becoming this kind of adult more than anything else. I know he's supposed to be kind of naive, but him being just this real dolt in the third season here I was just kind of like, okay. Yeah, they did make Diego a buffoon in this one as well. Um, the one that was interesting to me also was Allison. We knew Allison had already kind of gone over into villain material as it was, by committing child abuse on her daughter, using her power to make her daughter stop crying, go to sleep, basically doing things against her daughter's will by using her powers, her rumor powers. She does get an amp up, of course, in all of this. But yeah, I mean, we do have a little more development with Hargreave at this point too, with his character in this season, because it's a different Hargreave now at this point. I did think it was kind of funny that because of their interaction in the 1960s, he decides to adopt the entirely different group of kids. We've always wondered, there were 16 children that were born on October 1st, 1989, but we don't know what happened to the other ones. All we know are about the seven that we've been following. And now we've noticed that there's another six, because Ben is the one that is in both families, uh, that Hargreaves ends up taking, of course. And I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, that he was just so off put by them, of what he had done to them to create them, to make them this way, that he chose entirely different kids and created the Sparrow Academy instead of the Umbrella Academy. So that was interesting in this season. Um, I mean, 5 also is kind of regulated. Um, he's kind of pushed to the background, and you really don't get enough of 5 in this season as well. Um, and again, it's because of the whole Victor Vanya uh, transition story that takes over. There's a lot of dead space in that story. There really is. And honestly, it needed to be kind of condensed a little bit more, so we could have gotten other characters to have some time as well, some equal time. Penn says, I haven't seen the entire season. Why was Ben the only one he adopted twice? Because he didn't see Ben in the 60s. Ben was dead. Ben was attached to Klaus, remember, as a spirit. So he didn't see Ben. He didn't know Ben, and so that's why he was able to, adopt Ben twice, which I thought was pretty funny. And then Ben becoming a total raging asshole the second time around. Um, and then of course having the whole thing with Harlan, that whole storyline with Harlan being the ones that kills off their mothers so that they become paradoxes. We get the whole grandfather paradox, which, by the way, me and time travel. I love time travel stories. The whole grandfather paradox is a conundrum. It is. I love the way they did this whole circular thing, and the commission's film, if you will, the kind of the old 60s, 50s, 60s kind of educational film about what the grandfather paradox is. And I did love how they did that. That was actually pretty funny. Um, and 5, of course, 5 was only there basically to explain the science portion of it, and what little there was. Like, what was that ball of fire that was in the basement? It's a Kugelblitz. What's a Kugelblitz? A Kugelblitz is a combination of multiple black holes that are going to eat the universe and basically correct the paradox. So that's plainly put right there. And that's what he did. Um, yeah, Lila, same thing. Lila had a great, interesting arc in season 2, and they bring her back to basically be the comedic foil to Needle Diego. That's all it is. And yeah, whatever. Then we go over to the Sparrow Academy, and we get a whole new group of toys, I guess you can say, to play with at this point. Um, and Alfonso and I need to take a look at my list here of people. So Alfonso and Jamie eat it pretty early on. Uh, we kind of get a little bit of their powers or what's going on. That was interesting, but okay. And then we just start killing off, different members of the family there. Faye with her birds. Sloane, of course, being the gravity. uh I did kind of find it funny that she was just as smart as Five, and but fell for Luther, who was just dumb as a fucking bag of bricks. And her and Five are actually talking about theoretical quantum theory, on containing a black hole with a Dyson sphere. A Dyson sphere, by the way, is not what they were talking about, really. They're well, maybe there's kind of a miniature Dyson sphere, but anyway, I digress on all of this. I did find that funny that Sloane, went through that whole, how that character developed, and that she ends up marrying Luther at the end of the world there, when they're inside the Hotel Oblivion, and that Hargreave, his entire mission with the Sparrow Academy was for them to become good enough to go into the Hotel Oblivion and take on, the guardians of, the machine, if you will, that can reset the universe. Um, I have to admit, my favorite scene out of all of this was, Klaus, officiating at the wedding. If there is anything, if I were ever to get married at this point, I would want that kind of officiating at my wedding. Quite honestly, that was probably one of the best weddings I've ever seen, and that was, it made me laugh out loud quite a few times. So, Sirius says, I like the show, and each season is a bit better than I expected to be, but just a bit too long. So occasionally I space out just for like 10 seconds. Yeah, the first 3 episodes, I actually started falling asleep at the end of every episode. So I would have to rewind about 15 minutes, the last 15 minutes of the first 3 episodes. I don't know why, it just happened, for this season. So is it worth your time on this? Um, I'm gonna say yes if you invested already 2 seasons worth of time in that. It's not bad, but it's not as good as seasons 1 and 2. I have to admit that. This is probably at the bottom of the ranking for me for the seasons, but still, it wasn't by that much, quite honestly. The end where they end up resetting the universe, of course, and, coming back, and none of them have their powers, and you have, that weird, I guess you could say, mid-credits scene with Ben riding the subway in Korea, in Seoul, and I'm trying to think, is that actually the Ben that we just saw leave, who's the asshole, or is this another Ben, or do they all have doppelgangers? Are they now the double on this Earth that they've created with the machine? And is that where we're going in season 4, if there is a season 4? So that's kind of where I left off on that. I don't know about anybody else, but because it was just kind of a weird aside, and Ben seemed like he felt really too comfortable, uh, in that world, even though he hadn't been there. So I don't know. It just was kind of a weird one. Sirius says, I still don't know what the fuck that goldfish man was all about. That was in season 2. That was the commission. And I did find it funny too that Five ended up, becoming the one who actually founded the commission, and sees himself die as 100-year-old man, in a bunker that was, specifically designed to, make it so paradoxes can't exist. Uh, I mean, come on. That whole fucking concept right there alone is kind of why I read these comics. It really was. Um, yes, that was a clean ass bunker. It was serious, and the reason for that was obvious. It was a clean room. It was really what it was. Um, I did like that. That was actually really, really kind of cool. They did a good job on that one. But again, if there was more of that kind of weirdness and stuff in this season, I think I would have liked it better. But there wasn't enough of it. There was just kind of more, I would say, pedestrian. Uh, yeah, I would say this season was more pedestrian, according to Umbrella Academy. Other than Klaus learning how to, control his power, where he's immortal, and He lives in the void. He is the king of the dead. Busball, all that kind of stuff was also another highlight for me. I think, yeah, Klaus was the highlight for me in all of this. I mean, him spelunking into the sewer system in order to get to Dad, so he could talk to Dad, was kind of funny, and also so he could wean Dad off the drugs too. And then Pogo, this version of Pogo, being so opposed to Hargreave using or training the children to go into the Oblivion that he actually leaves the Sparrow Academy and goes in with a group of bikers and just becomes their tattoo artist. Was kind of interesting as well. But again, that was kind of a throwaway. I really would have liked to have seen a little bit more about Pogo and what had happened to him. Maybe even have devoted an entire half an episode to that of what happened to him, or more, maybe an entire episode. We could have just, like, again, truncated some of the Victor uh, storyline a bit. Sirius says, I was kind of shocked that Five got on the star at the end to complete the seal. I feel like everything leading up to that point was making it so obvious to yeah, I agree with you, Sirius, especially when Hargreave tells Allison, no, not you. And I want to know why he said no, not you, considering that he brought 7 people through the hallway specifically for that reason. So what was he going to pull her back at the last minute when he needed 7 people on that star? I don't know, but yeah, it was kind of weird. There were some very inconsistent things going on in this season, and I'm wondering if it's the writing. Um, and I'm wondering if it was the whole uh if it threw them for a loop, the whole Victor item, and then trying to meld the story around that, because that's kind of what it felt like a little bit, and that might have thrown off some of the other story. Or again, it just could have been changed in the writing room and just you had some other subpar writers that had come in at this point, which does happen around season 3, season 4. So Sirius says, then they explain it away by saying no, it just took their powers. Yeah, it reset everything. And I don't understand how Luther came back because he was already dead. So why would he come back at that point? And why was Hargreaves, did he have a statue of his head sitting in the middle? If you saw that, I guess it said he died on October 1st, 1989, when they were all supposed to be born. But then we see that there are a whole bunch of Hargreave branded buildings within the city, and they all have different functions of it. And Hargreave himself in the building with his wife, mother, girlfriend, I don't know what. And we find out that Luther really wasn't sent to the moon on a fool's errand mission. He was there as a bodyguard, more or less, because we see that he was actually protecting Hargreaves' mother, wife. We never know who the fuck she actually is, other than that she's in a cocoon kind of thing, sitting in the middle of the moon there, and just, yeah, I don't understand it. Was she his wife though? We never really get that we never got that confirmation that's his wife. I mean, the way it felt when we see his that whole episode of what Hargreave came to be, it felt like his mother, honestly, at some point. So I don't know what it is. Sirius says, why keep his wife frozen on the moon if he's just going to reset the universe? Yeah, I don't understand it either. So he can die like Luther and just come back. Sirius says, doesn't matter who she is, the logic of keeping her physical body safe. Okay. Yeah. CBM says, I was confused why Luther's wife wasn't with them and why Allison just seemed to appear with her children. I'm not even sure if Allison is in the same universe. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of inconsistencies at the end. Like I said, the writing was for shit for this season is what happened here. So, like I said, that's why I gave the caveat that of recommending this only if you're invested in the first 2 seasons. That this season you can go into. You'll still get some of the same wackiness, the same kind of weirdness as well, but not to the extent of the first two seasons. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Sirius. I think because she pushed the button, that's why Allison was not with them. She ended up someplace else, wherever she wanted to be, because she had that power. She had the power. Anyway, with that said, let's see if I can reach it without looking. So, on to the contest here, the contest portion of the evening. So, again, this is open to people who live in the continental United States only. Again, I hate to say this, but international shipping rates are a bitch. They really are. Again, to Canada, something, an envelope size is $20, $20. And I just can't justify, spending that kind of money, especially to this post office. Anyway, so if you leave a comment in the video, when this becomes a video in the comment section, doesn't make any difference how many comments you leave. You only get one entry per person. And then I'll draw your name next Tuesday, same time around here, 6 p.m. I think I put, 6 p.m. anyway, somewhere around there. And you will get that little guy. That is Pogo. That's a Funko Pop Pogo keychain. That's what I've got there. Da, 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 da. So there you go. Hey, Mercenary X84. CBM says, but Luther's wife also either had a different destination or wasn't brought. Possibly. So yes, that is the prize. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, sure. Watch another stream, Mercenary. I know how it is. Go on. Be off with you then. Toodaloo. I was going to give away this one too, but I need to keep this one. This is Klaus. I'm keeping him. So Klaus is kind of my spirit animal, I have to admit. I'm more 5 more than anything else. I have to admit I'm pretty much more or less 5, but Klaus is my spirit animal. Yeah. Sloan probably could not exist in this timeline. We don't know. And why do they exist in this timeline? What is it? We still never have answered the mystery of how they came to be. Why do all these women get pregnant on October 1st, 1989? No one has explained that at this point. All we know is that they are supposed to be there for a reason. They are supposed to be there to help, whatever coming tragedy is supposed to be happening, but we don't answer the big mystery of why. Why do they exist? Who did it? Who got those women pregnant and made them give birth all in the same day? Hi, Senior Six. How's it going? Seriously, I think it's because Hargreaves released those 7 glowing lights in the flashback. Possibly, but we don't know for sure. I mean, we really don't know for sure. We do know it's an alien. I know from the comics in your sticks, but I mean, yeah. But I'm talking about the show. The show has deviated from the comic enough where I think we can just say it's someplace else now. Yeah, I don't even know. See, this is all speculation, Sirius. It really is. We got new hints of Ben's death. Okay. Yes, he's an alien in the show, but we're talking about who impregnated the women. We don't know if it was actually Hargreaves. It was something else, because Hargreaves even seems kind of surprised by it himself. So, yeah. Do I think the commission came back when the universe was reset? I don't know, Mercenary X84. They are out of the timeline, or they exist outside of time. So Possibly. I mean, or is it still in oblivion mode because of everything that happened? We don't know. Yeah. Well, 7 was all he could get all he could get his hands on senior sticks. They actually say that in the very beginning of season 1 and again at the beginning of season 3 is that Hargreaves was only able to adopt 7. He was only able to get his hands on 7 even though he wanted more. He wanted them all and just he couldn't get them all. He couldn't get all 16. So, there you have it. Sirius says, I smell a retcon coming, but you're right. Yeah, I know, man. This is the curse I have is I actually look at all this stuff and then I start thinking, I'm like, well, what are they doing? And then I know kind of how writers think. I've read enough where I'm just sitting there going, oh, you fuckers are going to do this now, aren't you? And it's just like, no, don't do that. But, there you have it. We'll see what happens. Yes, there are 2 Bens here, exactly, Mercenary X84. That's exactly what I said. We have asshole Ben, and then we have the Ben that's on the train who is way too comfortable in this world to be asshole Ben. So obviously he's a different Ben. Uh Sirius says, you bear it so the rest of us can be free. Unfortunately, I guess. So yeah, I have a thing. I have a feeling that they're all going to find their own doppelgangers, and in this new world, if you will, and I'm sure Allison is going to be the first one to find it because I don't think that Claire is her Claire. I think it's a different Claire. Well, it's from a different Allison, shall we say? Yeah. No, you don't want to try and carry me. So, Senior Stick says, so Klaus can self-resurrect. Does that mean immortal? Um, well, he can't anymore, Senior Sticks. So he could at one point, and that was technically being immortal. Um, but I don't know. I guess if you burned him down to ashes, would he come back? I don't know. Yeah. Yes, Mercenary X84. They showed Ben's parents on the subway, and that's where she gives birth to him. And again, he's on that subway train later on. So yeah. Allison was on her Wanda Maximoff. Oh, that's bad. Yeah. I like Aiden. Oh man, what's his name? Aiden Gallagher. There we go. Aiden Gallagher. So it's kind of funny. There is a Vanity Fair. Normally, they'll do stuff where they pull together the cast of shows, movies, all that kind of stuff, and they'll have fun with it. So they had the cast, a partial cast. They didn't have Elliot Page. They didn't have um, Robert Sheenan. They didn't have him there, and they didn't have Ritu Arya or basically all they had was the characters who played Diego, Luther, Allison, number 5, and Ben. They just had those 5, and the video is them saying how well do they know each other, and so they have cue cards in there. They're asking each other cue card questions, uh, to see um, who knows them best. And so Aiden asked the question, how old was I when I started the show? And I didn't realize this, but he was 14 when he started that show. He was 13, just turning on to 14 when he started season 1. And yeah, he hasn't really grown all that much. It's really weird. He still looks like a kid, like a small kid. I don't understand how he is not aging. I wonder what they're doing to him, if they're putting any kind of making him drink lots of coffee, smoke a lot of cigarettes, things like that, stunting his growth. Bad Netflix. Siri says maybe they just took the powers away so they can explain why he's aging like 3 years between seasons. Possibly. Yeah. Senior Six says, "What happened to the cube and the deformed guy? Will Five ever get a name?" What happened to Christopher and Alfonso? Well, they both died. I mean, Christopher exploded because he was trying to hold in the Kugelblitz, and Alfonso got killed by Harlan. So, same thing with Claire. Was it Claire? Claire. No, not Claire. Claire is somebody else. Jamie, that's her name. Jamie. Alfonso and Jamie both ate it. Harlan killed them. See that whole story arc thing with Harlan, and that was so fucking unnecessary and just drawn out and just boring. It really was. Same thing with the whole Lila and Stan thing. That was just a boring, drawn out. Both storylines were just ugh. And that took up a good majority of the season. It really did. If they had gotten rid of those two storylines or condensed them in some way to just make them half an episode each and just resolve them, then they could have fanned out and done a little bit more on stuff that was more important, I think. Mercenary says, did Lila lose her powers too, since hers are a mimic based on, and there are no other powers for her to mimic? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they all reset. I don't know how a cube comes out of a hole, Mercenary. So your guess is as good as mine. CBM says Harlan's mother was boring last season too. Yeah, Sissy was that was a boring segment. I think I kind of blocked it out. Yes, the Alfonso's power was to take the damage and redirect it, but I think he even has his own limits. Actually, we saw Diego actually punishing him with it, and he does have his own limits. So, yeah. Yes, square peg, round hole. Exactly. God. Yeah, that was the first thing when I saw Christopher, and I was like, oh, I kind of winced because I that's what I thought of was the birth, and I was like, oh, ow, yikes, you know. Still do. It makes me kind of cringe. So, anyway, on that note, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow is going to be Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is tomorrow. Thursday is going to be the contest results. If you go back to the Obi-Wan Kenobi season finale, you'll see that I actually was doing a little giveaway on that one. And again, continental United States only. Darth Vader Lego Darth Vader keychain. There we go. Lego Darth Vader keychain was the first prize, and the second prize is Lego Stormtrooper keychain. There you go. That's gonna be on Thursday. Friday is gonna be the boys. The boys. Hopefully it's not as hyped up as Hero Gasm was. Saturday I'm gonna be off because I need some rest. Sunday is going to be the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Monday will be Westworld, and then Tuesday, instead of Is It Worth My Time, we're going to have the contest results for this one. Da, da, da. There you go. Sirius says, like a baby Jesus, but cube shaped and more tolerant of the gay community. All right. Yeah. Senior Six says, I thought the cube might be the other five as he went back in time the wrong way and became a ball of light. No. We already got that Hargreave adopted six different children specifically because the Umbrella Academy met him in 1963. So there you have it. And on that note, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up here at the very end. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media and all the links to my pages up there as well. All right. So until tomorrow, when we get to see Miss Marvel, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good rest of your night. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to end up standing on a star that's actually going to take your life force in order to restart the universe, because the universe is just being destroyed because of the grandfather paradox, because of a MacGuffin of that happened from season 2 that needed to be resolved for some unknown reason in this fashion. Anyway, it's not worth talking about. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care. Wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and get the boosters as well. They don't work without the boosters. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and take care out there, everybody. Have a good rest of your night if I can actually find that end button. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.